All right, guys. So today we're going to talk about how to use one of the new features or one of the new updates in designs. This allows you to make what they call a magazine, which you could do to generate leads or to give to your clients. It's also a great way to create the newsletter. So for people that were with us a while back, we used to have a tool that did a monthly newsletter. Some people loved it, some people hated it. Personally, I wasn't a fan because the content was designed to be able to cover the 200,000 agents that we have. So you would get posts about winterizing your pipes and how to clean the snow off your car. And that obviously isn't really relevant to us down here. So this allows you to kind of create your own content and do that. So the way to do this, or the way to find this, I'm going to walk you through it step by step and then we'll talk about it. The way to find it is by logging into command. So you're going to go to agent.kw.com and then you're going to get yourself logged in. So let me give that a second to bring me in. And then once we get in, we are going to use the designs section, which should be the second or third one from the bottom for most people. If you don't know which one it is, click the little red KW and it'll expand all of them, and then scroll on down to designs. And when we get down to designs, what will happen is it'll show you anything that you've made in design. So I teach these for classes and people all the time. So there's thousands of them in here, but don't necessarily worry about that. The way that you want to do this or be able to create is we're going to use the little teal plus sign that's in the bottom right. That's the create button. So when we hit that, it's going to open us up a pop-up that gives us the option to do email, social, print, video, or import a PDF. For what we're doing, we're going to create it through print. That doesn't mean that you have to actually print it. So you could do this digitally or as an email, but we are going to create it in the print section because that's the easiest way to kind of create. So we're going to hit print, and then we're going to hit next, and it's going to take a couple seconds. And then it should load us up into the template library, which is all the templates that KW has created for us. They add new ones every week if you've never been on here. The big thing with this library and all of designs that you want to really pay attention to or learn is that these are templates. And the goal is that you do a very minimal amount of work to these things. The goal is not to take one of these and then spend hours editing it. It's a template so that you can just swap out an address or some text or your name and be able to produce high quality design work, within just a couple of minutes. If you're spending hours on this thing, you're doing it wrong. The goal is to make this thing really as quick as we can. So a couple different spots that we can go to always look for things. We can go to new designs and see what they've rolled out recently. If you click on all, it will show you all the different options. Some of these have been around. Some of you guys have seen them. Some of you probably have not, but definitely some options there. We can go to luxury, which is a whole luxury marketing thing. Leadership, I don't think you guys will have. That's just on my side. Business basics is where you can do business cards, where you can do like letterhead, stationery, things like that. We can do lead generation, which is a whole bunch of different things, home value calculator, ads, greeting cards, event invitations, client love is like testimonial kind of things, KW stuff. Personally branded magazine is what we're going to talk about here in a second. You can do buyer related graphics. So these are your neighborhood snaps, which is basically information about a neighborhood. If you use Keller Mortgage or if you want to create a buyer presentation. There's a whole bunch for listings. There's a listing presentation. There's for sale ads, just listed ads, price updates, neighborhood snaps, open houses, just sold, local expert. All those are templates that you can use. And then there's app settings so that you can drive people to your app. What we're going to do for today is cover one of the big new ones is under lead generation. We're going to go to personally branded zine, Z-I-N-E. Which is like a magazine. So if we're in all here, there's only one option, but inside of this one option, there's a bunch of different pages and a bunch of different things that we can set up. So we're going to click on, when we roll over it, we'll see some options. We're going to click on the red thing that says use, and then we're going to give it a couple of seconds to load this up. It's a big file because there's a lot of them in there. So it's going to take a little bit. And once we load that up, if you built a listing presentation off here or a buyer presentation off here before, this is very similar where you get to pick and choose what you like. So if there's pieces of this you don't like, it's cool, just don't add them. And there's ones you don't want to use, it's all good. It's in kind of a logical order that would make sense if you were making this as like a magazine or a brochure or something like that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through each of these pages. I'm going to add them all just to kind of show you. And then again, you can pick and choose if if you like ones or you don't like ones, it's all good. So what you do to add them and to be able to actually edit these things is you have to add them to your file. So on the left, when I scroll through here, you're going to see a bunch of them. I'm not sure off the top of my head how many there are, but there's a bunch. We're going to scroll through all of them. We'll talk about them. If you want to add them where you can work them and customize them, you have to hit the little plus sign. And when you do that, you'll see on the bottom here, it will add in. So if I hit a plus, it's going to add that one. Now I have 2 pages. And now it's going to be 3 and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go through and add all these just because then we can kind of zoom in and work on how to edit them and how to work on them. So just bear with me for a second while I get all these added in. And then we'll dive into each one. So if they're hard to see right now because it's smaller, don't stress. I will get us zoomed in and make this a little bit easier to look at. While I'm adding these things, any questions so far? Because this is going to take me a minute. All right, nice and easy.
No, it seems like
should be pretty simple to do, honestly. It's really not too difficult. Where the time comes into this is customizing it and creating your own content, because you have to, if you use actually all these pages, there's a lot of pages. I'm already on 9. And I know there's still a couple left. So just bear with me for another minute or so here. And the goal is that each one of these pages, what I like about all these big pieces of KW content is that, if you don't want to spend a whole day customizing and creating these, each one of these pages could be their own piece of content. So if you're kind of struggling for content, or you don't know what to put out there on social, or you don't know what to, give to clients or put in your packages or whatever, you can come in here and just say, man, I really like that page. I don't want to do the whole thing. It's too much work, or I don't want to do it now, but I do like page 1 or page 7 or page 12 or whatever. And you can just do one at a time. The other thing is when you create this, it will stay in your design library. So if you create this today and you only get through 1 page, maybe you add all 15 or 20 of them, but you only actually get through editing 1 of them, it'll stay there. And it's just a living, breathing document that you could always go back and just edit and fix and work on. So don't think you have to do this all in one session. What I've been trying to do with people that are working on the listing presentation and the buyer presentation is just convince them, like, just block out, a half hour a day until you get this thing done. Go in there, bang out a page at a time. And then, by the end of the month or the end of a couple of weeks, you'll have all this thing total and built and complete. And then that way it gives you the ability to be building on it instead of focusing on it all at one time. I don't want you guys to get stuck in that never ending, marketing draw where this is all you do, because then you're going to be stuck in here and not get anything else done and not generate any leads, which is no good. So I'm going to go back to the beginning now, and then I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see a little bit better. And then we'll talk about each one of these pages to give you some opportunities with what to do and some ideas. And then I'll show you how to save it, how to share it, how to download it, all that fun stuff. And then we'll wrap it up. So probably be on here till, 10:30 or so. And then you guys can go and, kind of treat this as homework if you want to build one of these things. And this tool, how I'm teaching you this now, it works exactly the same as the listing presentation and the buyer presentation one. So if you weren't on my classes for those, or if you haven't created one of those yet, it's the exact same thing. There's a whole bunch of pages, a whole bunch of options. You can pick and choose which ones you like. You cannot choose or not use the ones that you don't really care about, or that you don't want to, show your clients, or that you don't want to customize. And you can just build every one of these things custom. But again, the big thing is, if tech or marketing is not your thing, just commit to banging out one of these a day. Just sit and block off 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day and say, okay, I'm going to hit all these and get all of them done over the course of a month or whatever. There's 17 of them. So 17 days, I guess it would take us to do if we did one a day. I think there's actually 16 because I'm pretty sure the first page is just blank. Yeah, okay, so good. We don't need to work on that one. So let's start on page 2 here. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so it's a little bit easier for you guys to see, and then we can kind of scroll. So, so this would be like the front page if you're doing the magazine, or if you're doing some kind of a newsletter, this is sort of a cover page, right? So we can swap in our logo. We can put in our actual name and our office name. New Beginnings is just the title of their magazine. If you want to call it Ryan's Monthly Update, that's where you can call it. You have a little subtitle here, your local winter real estate update. So if you want to do it quarterly or seasonally, you can do that. If you'd rather do it monthly, it might be, here's what happened in January. You know, it releases in February and it's kind of an overview of January, whatever it is you want to do. And then if you want to put like a little volume or counter on there, you can do that too. You have the option to add an image in here that you can just drop in. So if you have anything in the library, you can just swap that in and just throw those right in there. My silly little guy in there, you can do that. I'm going to mute you, but if you need anything, come off. Just too much background noise. And then on the bottom there, it gives like kind of almost like an agenda. So if you zoom in a little bit more here, I'll zoom in so you guys can see it a little bit better. It shows you like what the topics are or are going to be in here. So you can create topics and say, you know, market overview, here's what I sold, and here's what I'm doing in the community, whatever. So that's page number 1. Nice and simple, nice and easy to use. Let's go to the next piece here. Okay, so this is kind of like an intro letter page. So if you're doing this as a magazine or maybe a physical brochure or pamphlet, this would be where you put like your about you or what they're going to get from working with you. So if you look on the top, simple, right? A note from Ryan, and then it might have your picture. This would be their like a team logo. This is, I guess, her team logo, the Awesome City Living. Anybody that's on the team, or if you want to put some detail. And then this is just like a summary, an intro note, whatever you want to call it. Happy 2021. You know, the new year's here. We're going to be putting this out quarterly. Hope you can join us. Stay tuned. Right. So any kind of thing like you want to do, like as an intro letter, if you're going to do a monthly newsletter or something like that, this is where you would just have like your little, you know, publisher's note kind of thing, like you'll see in the front of a magazine or a book sometimes. And you can customize that just by clicking in here. Once it highlights the box like that, you can double click and just change the text and just type. So if I just wanted to type away here, it will start updating and let me kind of type in the text there. So you'll be able to build this out, customize this, and create as much or as little as you want in here, and be able to put in, you know, whatever words or speech you want in there. Next page. Come on. All right, next page is a year in review page. This could be a year, this could be a month. These numbers are either taken from the neighborhood snapshot, or you could do what we do in the office is we have something that's called the language of real estate, and your MCAs actually do the numbers and the work for you on this. So if you ask the MCAs, Sonia if you're in Boca, Emily if you're in Boynton, for a copy of the language of real estate, she'll know what you're talking about right away. Both of them will know what you're talking about right away. And it has a whole bunch of numbers that shows kind of like the good numbers in the market. So it might say Keller Williams Boynton Beach outproduced the rest of the real estate market by 15% in closed sales volume. So, you know, that would be something that you would show maybe a seller that, hey, we're doing 15% more deals, or, you know, 10% more listings, or whatever it is. So there's numbers and stats that you guys can back up. That's all this page is. We call it the language of real estate when we, you know, explain it to you guys, and then you guys can package that however you want out to your client. So if you like that page and you like to have numbers, you can just zoom in on this page, nice and easy. And Emily or Sonia will have those numbers and can give them to you, and you just plug and play. It's nice and easy. All right, next page. Real estate solution. So I believe this is like a pre-made article. So if you're creating a content or anything like that, you can do that if you want, but this is like pre-made content. So when you look at this, they built you out a piece of content that you can use. And the goal is that if you're using something like this, you know, you could use this for the first month, and then maybe next month you want to do some kind of a different article, but this is already built in there for you. So if you're looking for something to send and you want to do one of these, this one's already pre-made for you. 3 pages with how to, I guess, greenify your home or make your home more efficient is the article for this month. So these things will end up coming out, and you'll keep getting, you know, new content created from KW. All right, page 8. This is the featured listing page. So this could be if you're trying to win a seller, you might want to show them something like this. This could be if you have, you know, one listing that you're really trying to sell, or that is a hot new listing or something like that, and you want to put that information in. Nice and easy in here. You don't have to change much. We're not going to change the featured listing. We're not going to change all this stuff. we're just going to swap the picture, which we can just click on the picture and we'd be able to swap it with any image that we have. And then all the info, if you zoom in, it's small because I'm zoomed way out. But if you zoom in, you can just copy and paste your listing description in here, or you can swap it out and you're just putting in your name, the company name, phone number. You know, this is pretty easy stuff. You're just putting in what makes sense for you, you know, that's tied to this listing. So if you don't have any listings or you don't want to do this, again, you just don't have to add that page. So don't stress about it. You know, if that's holding you up, don't let that bother you because it is, you know, it can be skipped. You could always just do the next one.
But you can always use somebody else's listing, right?
Yeah, just ask them or make sure it's listed as any broker advertised on the MLS.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
good point. So this is another pre-created piece of content for you, home maintenance projects that they want you to tackle. So you can go through here and you can just take this. You don't need to do anything. You know, if you want to customize it, I guess you could, but to me, I look at this and just think like, you know, easy piece of content. I don't need to do anything. Spin the ceiling fans in the right direction. Inspect your foundation. Make sure your outlets are working. Get junk away from your AC. Clean your vents. Check smoke detectors. Touch up any blemishes, I guess paint and chip. And put 2020 behind you. Good idea. All right, next page. Next page, this is going to be kind of like a, I don't want to call it a brag, but like, you know, something about you, something about your business, something about your team. So you can leave our belief system at the bottom. This is a KW thing. You can just swap in our logo and then you can put as much information about you as you want. And if you don't have some of these numbers, you know, like if you don't have clients yet, or if you haven't done a lot of deals or you're new in the business, don't feel like you have to use one of these numbers. You could just click it. And if you don't want it, you could just delete it. So if you don't want to show that you've only been in the business for a year because you don't think that sounds good, you know, no big deal. Just click it, hit the delete button, and then it's gone. And you can, the other thing with pages like this is people always struggle with this, but you could always use the numbers of the office. So if you want to use the office numbers, feel free to just take the office numbers and use our numbers. So however many listings we sold this month or whatever. Next page. Number 12, success stories. Ideally, this would be like a testimonial page. So if you've recently done a deal and they wrote you a nice review or a nice testimonial, you might put a picture of them or their house. And it just kind of makes the business real for you, for them, so that they can see, okay, yes, this guy or this girl is actually doing business, you know, and here's who they helped last week, last month, last year. And if you don't have any of these yet, it's okay. You know, you can skip this part or just not put it in or build it out for whenever you're ready. All right, page 13. Page 13, another pre-built piece of content. Say goodbye to the winter blues. So if you want to use this, if you like this one, you can go through here, you know, read it and make sure it's something that's relevant or that you like. But it looks like what, 6 little tips here to get into spring or to not be sad in the winter. All right, hottest winter listings or hottest listings pages. This is for more of like a show off of listings. So this could be if you have a lot of listings or a lot of deals going on, you can put that here. You could also maybe pick the 6 best listings that you think we have in the office and throw them there. You know, in a perfect world, these would be all different price points so that, you know, whoever this reaches out to, if there's someone looking for a $150,000 condo or someone that's looking for a $2 million, I don't know, waterfront house or townhouse or something, it could be on here. So you can look through our office listings in the MLS. There's a section that's called office listings, and it will show you all the listings that our office has. And you can just pick and choose out of those. It's nice and easy. And then just your basic information on the bottom. So we're going to switch out pictures, put 123 Main Street, whatever the price is, some basic info. And then at the bottom, if you want to schedule a tour, you know, contact me to do so, and then throw in your phone number. Page 16, ask an agent. So this is like kind of like a question section, which you're obviously, you know, sort of rigging. So you can put, you know, a picture of you or a picture of whatever an issue is, or maybe something that you think is common. Maybe it's a question about interest rates, or what percentage does it take down to be able to buy a house, or why someone should buy over renting, or whatever it is. You can put that in there and then kind of put your own answer. So you're curating your own kind of content there and sort of steering people in the direction that you want them to go. So this is a really great standalone piece of content. And this could also be a member, you know, of something bigger, like if you're doing this as the magazine or the newsletter. And then last but not least is going to be about the app. So that image is just showing, the mobile part that they should do something mobile in their business. And then you can put in your own personalized URL there. So if you have a personal URL, you can throw that in there for them to be able to see or go to get on the app. If you don't use the app or you don't want to push that or something, again, just don't worry about it. But the app is a great tool right now that we have to kind of keep some connectivity. So those are all, I believe it's actually 16. I know it says 17, but there's a blank in there. So those are the 16 pages of this newsletter that we have. And you guys should be able to now go in and just customize that and kind of use that as you want. And I think I just hit the wrong button here to get out. Anybody, any questions while I'm trying to get this back up here to finish up? All right.
No, not really. That's it's very concise. And you can just upload pictures, from your own. It's just
yeah. So you can upload, so you can upload pictures into that image library, or if it's a list that's active, you can actually pull them right out of what's called the KWLS, and it will pull the images right out of there for you. So if it's an active thing that you're already working on, you can just yank it right out of there.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get back in here real quick. I'll show you one more thing here before we sign off. So if you go to this KWLS, you can search for a listing in here by MLS number, by an agent, by an address. And if you find it, you'll be able to just add in the images from that. And you can also do a neighborhood search. And if it recognizes that, let's just say Charleston. If it recognizes the neighborhood, this is, I'm kind of cheated here because I know this neighborhood works, but if you find a neighborhood, it'll actually pull the neighborhood stats for you, and you can use that as well. So you can do the neighborhood snap stats as well. So the listing thing will work the same. If you have a listing, you just type in the address and you can throw it in there. When you're done with all this, everything that we just did, you can put a name in there. So it could be My Test, whatever, magazine. And then you have a couple of options. So you can share it. If you hit share, it's going to let you share to connected social medias that you have, Facebook, Twitter, onto Pinterest, or you could just take this link and share it anywhere you want. You can download it. So if you want to download it out to either print it or put it in an email or something, you can do that. If you're going to download it for social media, you want to use JPEG or PNG. If you're going to download it for print, like actually into ink on paper, we're going to use PDF. Or you can just hit done. And when you hit done, it's going to say, are you sure you're done? You want to save it. And then when you save it, it'll dump it back into your design library, and it should be the most recent one. So it should show up here. Yep.
Yeah, there it is.
And then you'll be able to go back in there. You can change the name of it. You can copy it if you want to redo it, or you can get rid of it. Or if you just click it, it will bring you back in there. So if you want to edit it or mess around or do anything else, or download it in a different version or whatever, you have the ability to do that. So this tool is great, again, for if you want to do the magazine, if you want to do some kind of a newsletter or brochure, whether it be on paper or on social or digital through email. You can do all that through here. And then you can also kind of use this same tool, but if you want to do the listing presentation, if you want to do the buyer presentation and customize that, those are loaded up in the template section on the left side here as well, under listing or under buyer, whichever one it is that you want to do. So should be nice and easy to use. If you guys have any issues or you want to work on it, I do tech help desks Tuesday morning 10 to 11 and Thursday evening 5 to 6, that if you need tech help specifically, or have a question, you could always just jump on those and come and work with me on those. And if you are, in need of